Hey, what's up you guys? This is Chicken Basket, and today I'm going to show you some of the more advanced topics on Rise of Nations, Thrones, and Patriots. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some of the nation's powers and explaining them to you. When you select a nation in Rise of Nations, Thrones, and Patriots, they all have special bonuses that other nations don't. And I'm going to start by showing you each of the nation's powers here and explaining them to you. The Americans, their first wonder, which is the monuments in the game that give you really awesome powers, their first wonder is built instantly, which is amazing. That's one of the reasons that a lot of people like to play as the Americans in this game. That gives you a huge advantage. Governments are free. That's basically just a free technology, or three free technologies actually. You start with a free science technology, and you receive one free scholar at each new university, and that's a helpful bonus that saves you some wealth. Aircraft and aircraft carriers are 20% cheaper, and all air bases receive one free bomber from the modern age. And 25% cheaper military ground unit upgrades, and you receive +3 food, timber, metal, and wealth for every non-scout barracks unit except when garrison. So as you can see, the Americans have a lot of diverse and really powerful upgrades here. The Aztecs have they gain 15 bonus resources per age when your barracks, stable, and docks units slay an enemy, and you get a maximum of 60 from that. So for each unit you slay, you get that much extra, and I think after the gunpowder age, yeah, it stops at 60. Your plunder from enemy buildings is increased 100%, so that's really helpful when you're going and just plowing down people's buildings one after the other. You start with one free military research, so you can start building barracks right from the beginning, and you receive a new light infantry whenever you build a barracks. And you receive 1 at the start, 2 at the classical age, plus that military research you start with, and 3 plus the gunpowder age and 3 military research. So that makes it so that when you build a barracks, you get free units, and free units are always good. The Bantu have the power of migration, which all of their bonuses relate to that. Your unit upgrades do not require military research, so you can upgrade them no matter what, as long as you advance in the ages. You have an additional city for your city limit, and cities are 75% cheaper, so you can spread out and gain that territory really quickly. You have double the population limit, and you may exceed the maximum limit by 25%. Your barracks units and citizens move 25% faster, so all that's related to moving and spreading out quickly. The British have +25% commerce cap, so you get more resources. You don't have to research commerce to get as many resources. You get double income from taxation, and tax upgrades are 50% cheaper. That helps you generate a lot more wealth really quickly. Ships are created 33% faster. You get 1 free fishing boat whenever you build a new dock, so you can get out there and harvest more food. Foot archer upgrades are free, and you receive free archers whenever you build a new barracks, 1 at start, 2 with medieval age, and 3 with the gunpowder age. The British archer units are really powerful, so that's really helpful. You get +2 range to forts and towers, so they can kill more enemies from a farther distance. And anti-aircraft units and buildings are created 25% cheaper and 33% faster, and that's a blessing after the industrial age when people start to build air bases. The Chinese, all their bonuses are really helpful. You get science research cheaper at the library, 20% cheaper. You receive the herbal lore, medicine, and pharmaceuticals upgrades for free, which help your units regenerate faster when they're garrisoned. You start with a large city, and all of your new cities become large cities, which they're a lot stronger than small cities, especially in the beginning. And citizens, caravans, and merchants are all created instantly. That is a huge bonus. Like, normally, for units to be created instantly, you have to have the last science technology in the game, which is expensive as shit. And that's amazing right there. The Dutch are one of my favorite nations to start with because they're all related. Everything that they have is related to getting resources and getting it fast. You start with a free commerce at the library, so you get to start building markets from the beginning. You get a discount on all future commerce research. You already start with a market built and 2 free merchants. For every 100 of a resource in your treasury beyond starting level, you receive +5 income for that resource except knowledge, and that income can exceed the commerce cap by 50. So you have, say, how much is that? If you have 2,000, I think, I don't know, I'm not really wanting to do the math, but if you have a huge amount of resources, your income just keeps going up. And you receive 1 free light ship whenever you complete a dock, and ship upgrades are 10% cheaper, so you could get out there and explore the waters and get more resources quickly. The Egyptians, they start with a granary and receive granary upgrades for free, and the granary gives you a lot more food from your farms, which is really helpful. Your food commerce limit is increased by 10%. You may build 7 farms per city, and farms generate +2 wealth. So that's really helpful early on. Wonders cost 25% less, can be built at age early, and you may build 2 per city. That makes the Egyptians the best possible nation for winning a wonder victory. The only one that has even remotely the same advantage is the Americans, because theirs is built instantly, but the Egyptians can start earlier. The French receive a free general every time you build a new fort, so that's a little bit of a resource saver right there. Supply wagons heal your troops. Receive a free supply wagon each time you build a new siege factory or factory. Normally you have to build the really expensive Library of Versailles wonder for your supply wagons to heal your troops. So that just keeps your troops out there and on the attack instead of garrison healing. Siege factory and factory units are created 15% cheaper and 25% faster. They also move faster. And that's probably a reference to Napoleon being the master of artillery, and which is what the siege factory and factory makes. So that's a really helpful bonus for taking down cities. You get a free lumber mill and upgrades, and woodcutters +1 citizens. Oh, your woodcutters camps all get an additional citizen spot, and your timber commerce limit is increased by 10%. The Germans, their granary, lumber mill, and smelter production upgrades are 50% cheaper and available sooner. I think they're all available in age earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Cities gather an extra 5 food, timber, and metal. Building completion bonuses is increased by 50%, and that's super helpful because that bonus when you build a building makes up for your the resources you spend on building it. Submarine and fire ships are built 33% faster and 25% cheaper. Those are some of the most powerful ships because submarines can't be detected except by certain units, and fire ships instantly kill ancient ships before the industrial age. Air units are created 33% faster, and each airbase comes with 2 free fighters, and that just makes it so that the second you build an airbase, you can start attacking or start defending. The Greeks have the power of philosophy, and I mentioned the Greeks in the 5th tutorial, or was it? No, it was the 4th tutorial, I think, where you start to gather knowledge. And their library research is 10% cheaper, except for the knowledge cost, and 100% faster. They can build universities and collect knowledge from the start of the game, which is what I mentioned in that other tutorial. libraries and universities are 66% cheaper. The Greeks are definitely best for players who hate research. And normally I'd pick the Greeks because I hate the research costs and times, but I gotta go with the Dutch or the Americans myself. The Inca are completely related to wealth. They're one of the best wealth collecting nations in the game. Their mines make wealth as well as metal. Their wealth commerce limit is increased by 33%, and when one of your units is killed by an enemy, you receive a 25% refund on that unit. That's really helpful. The Indians have the power of majesty. Buildings do not rise in cost except for wonders, towers, lookouts, and forts, which rise at half the normal rate, and cities, which rise normally. As you build more and more versions of a building, say you build a granary 3 times, the cost is going to increase slightly for each time after the first. So buildings not rising in cost is really helpful. And the only reason that towers, lookouts, and forts do is because those automatically attack enemies, and they wouldn't want the game to be too unbalanced in that right. And cities would rise normally because gotta have some balance on expanding quickly. You get a +4 to the city economic radius, which is really good for when you're placing buildings, because you have to place buildings within the economic radius of your cities. You get +15% caravan income, which helps you generate wealth. And war elephant upgrades are free, and war elephant units are 15% cheaper. And those are basically they're heavy cavalry, so it's really helpful. The Iroquois, is probably my favorite Indian nation on here, because they get 1 free scout units with each barracks built. Scouts get free upgrades that can move through forests, so that's really good for when they get the ability to snipe and place bombs. The first Senate is built free and builds instantly, so free buildings are always helpful. Woodcutters also gather +2 food each. That helps your food income. Military units, including scouts in friendly territory, are hidden when not attacking. All units heal when not moving or attacking in friendly territory, and barracks units have +10% hit points. That essentially means that in your territory or in your allies' territory, your military units are invisible, and they heal, and they have more hit points than the average units. And that's all extremely helpful. Usually for units to be hidden, they have to be within the general's radius when he uses the ambush ability. The Japanese, their barracks units are created 7% cheaper and 10% faster for each age plus military research. So there's 7 ages, 7 military research. You multiply that however you want, and you'll get the max for that. That's really helpful. Barracks units do 5% extra damage versus buildings for each age plus military research. Ships are 10% cheaper, and aircraft carriers are created 33% faster. Farms are 50% cheaper, and fishermen produce +25% resources. All that, basically means your barracks units are cheaper, created faster, they do more damage against buildings, which, you don't have to buy as much artillery in that case. Ships, getting out cheaper, that lets you build your navy quicker, and your farms and fishermen your farms being cheaper, and your farms and fishermen producing more resources, that lets you make more barracks units, because all of them except for like archers and stuff like that cost food. The Koreans start with a temple and receive religion upgrades for free, and religion upgrades help fortify your cities. And then the temple you can also research taxation from. You start with an extra citizen, you receive 3 when you build your second city, you receive 5 for all future cities, so that means you can put out more citizens to work right when you build a new city. You repair 50% faster, and you can build and repair buildings that are under fire without penalty. Always having faster repairs good, especially after you fend off an attack. And if a building is under fire, say one of your wonders, and you're trying to keep it alive until your military can get there, normally there's a penalty that makes you repair it slower, but the Koreans can repair it without penalty, keeping it up longer so your military can get there to defend it. And you receive militia, Minuteman, and partisan upgrades for free, and towers are 33% cheaper. Those upgrades can all turn your civilians into makeshift military units in case, you know, you're waiting for your military to get there to help fend off, or if there's a really small attack and they can fend it off themselves. The Lakota, they receive +4 food for every citizen, scout, and cavalry unit, except when garrisoned, instead of building farms and granaries. Farms and granaries instantly are in enemy cities when they're captured or instantly destroyed. Your borders are invisible to enemies. You can construct anywhere in territory not belonging to an enemy nation. So you can build woodcutters camps, mines, you know, anything like that. You can build those anywhere, even if it's not your territory, as long as it's not in enemies. And ranged cavalry upgrades are free. The Maya, all their upgrades relate to buildings, and their cities, towers, forts, etc. Fire arrows and bullets, including cities, without garrisons. Or they fire extra arrows and bullets, including cities without garrisons, sorry. Buildings are 25% tougher, and all non-wonders are 20% faster to build. Buildings cost 25% less timber, except wonders and military buildings, so that lets you build up your cities faster, cheaper, and all your buildings are a lot harder to take down. The Mongols receive free-range cavalry whenever you build a new stable or auto plant. 1 at the start, 2 of 2 military research, and 3 of 3 military research, so you don't even have to advance in the ages to get that, you just have to have military research. Mounted units are created 10% cheaper and 20% faster. Receive +1 food for each 1% of world landmass controlled, times half the number of nations. So, if you control 33% of the world landmass, that's 33 food. And if you're in a game with 4 nations, that's, multiply that by 2, 66 extra food per minute or whatever. And attrition to your units is reduced by 50%, and you receive forage, supply, and logistics research for free. So that means your units can go into enemy territory that has the attrition upgrades, which wears your units down over time. Your units can go into places without having supply wagons and do better, or fare better and lose less health. The Nubians have the power of trade, and all that relates to their commerce, like the Dutch does in a way. Merchants in your territory collect +50% base resources. You can see all rare resources in your territory, even if you haven't explored that area yet. You receive +1 to your caravan limit. You start with a market and can trade resources with a +20, -20 price bonus. So you start off with a market, and you're buying and selling for resources. You get a bonus of 20 for that resource, and a cost of -20 for that resource for, you know, whatever it is, and that applies always. Merchants, caravans, and markets are 10% cheaper and have 50% more hit points, so that, you know, keeps your units alive longer and makes them cheaper to build or replace. The Persians start with 50% bonus food. The second city you build acts as a second capital. Both receive the capital border bonus, and both must be captured to eliminate you, so that makes the Persians really hard to kill. You receive a +30% discount on civic research. You receive taxation upgrades for free, and you always have the maximum caravan limit. The Romans, their forts are 25% cheaper and 50% faster to build, exert +3 national borders, and get free upgrades, which makes the already powerful fort buildings even more powerful. Heavy infantry are created 10% cheaper and 10% faster. Start with 1 military research at the library, so you are able to build a barracks from the very start, and your heavy infantry are cheaper and build faster. Receive free heavy infantry when you build new barracks, 1 of classical age, 2 of gunpowder age, +3 military research, and 3 with industrial age, +5 military research. And cities gather an extra +10 wealth. The Russians, their attrition to enemy units in your territory is increased by 100%. Attrition upgrades are free. That makes it so that if enemies come into your territory without supply wagons, they'll die without you even laying a finger on them from attrition warfare, you know, wearing them down and whatnot. And that's probably a reference to Napoleon and Hitler, how they both tried to invade Russia in the winter, and yeah, most of their casualties came from not being able to stand the cold rather from the Russians. Their national borders are +1 extra per civic, so your territory gets expanded more. You start with 1 free civic research at the library. Spies are half price. Cavalry units do +25% damage to enemy supply and artillery units. Plunder from Russian buildings goes to the Russians, not the enemy who plundered them. So when somebody destroys your buildings, you get the plunder from it, not your enemies. You get +20% to your oil gathering. The Spanish, their map begins revealed and you start with an extra scout. In revealed map games, you gain a bonus scout. And by revealed, the territory is there, but it still has the fog of war on it. The scout line of sight, or no, the scout upgrade line is upgraded for free and uses abilities faster. Until industrial age, you receive a free heavy ship whenever you complete a dock. And you gain 30 resources from ruins and +26 per science level, so you can gain up to like 140, like almost 200 extra from the ruins, which are basically little like presents essentially that you can find around the map. Then they give you little bonuses to resources, and usually your explorers will automatically pick them up. And last but not least, the Turks, all of their well, just about all of their upgrades relate to artillery units. All siege artillery and bombardment units have a +3 range and +3 line of sight. Receive 2 free siege units whenever you build a new siege factory or a factory. Citizens are 33% cheaper. Conquered cities assimilated 200% faster. Siege unit upgrades are free, and military research at the library is 33% cheaper. So the Turks are really good at taking cities and doing it quickly. So that's all of the nation's powers and their explanations, and that's it for this Rise of Nations tutorial. Thanks for watching.